Hey CG, what's up? I wanted to bring you guys a quick video on some warm-up moves that you guys can do before any of the workouts that you're going to find on my YouTube or you're going to find in that Camp Gladiator Rayford Road Facebook page. It's a very general warm-up, so that means that it's going to get all the major muscle groups going. It's going to help to get that heart rate elevated and ready for the workout, and it's also going to work on some flexibility and mobility. It's not specific to a certain type of workout, so you guys can use this as a general warm-up anytime. Check it out. We're going to start with the first thing that we always start with, those calf rockers. We're starting from the ground, we're working our way up, all right? So we're going to start by working on our calves here and our feet. We're going to rock up onto the ball of the foot, back onto the heels there. I'm letting those toes spread out in my feet. I'm doing this nice and slow. I'll get more up onto the ball of the foot as I get more warmed up. So go ahead, knock out 10, maybe 15 of these, getting a good range of motion on that ankle there. Once you guys have a couple of those, go ahead and unpause the video, come back to it, and we'll check out the next exercise. Your next exercise is going to be that kneeling hip flexor stretch. So we'll come over to our mat. We'll bring our knee down on the mat. Here's some important keys, is we're going to keep the knee lined up directly below the hip. So I don't want myself to be shifted forward, right? We'll keep that knee directly below the hip. We'll flex the butt muscle. We'll tuck the tailbone. Bringing that same hand up into the air. We'll draw on our tummy, reach nice and high, and gently tip to the side. So you guys can gently tip to the opposite direction there. That's going to add a little bit of a bonus hip flexor stretch on that. That counts as one. I switch to the other side, knees directly below the hip, flex my butt muscle, tuck the tailbone, bring that hand up in the air, and I can tip to the side. That counts as one for this side. I'd switch sides maybe 5, 6 times, depending on how tight my hips feel. So go ahead, pause the video, get 5 or 6 of those in, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Next one is going to be bringing those legs apart. Once we have those legs apart, we're going to gently shift to the side. You guys should feel some stretch on the inside of your leg here. Come on back up. We'll shift to the other side. That's one on each side. We're going to be switching sides 5, maybe 6 times, depending on how tight the insides of your hips feel there, right? Making sure you guys come up. We're taking deep breaths on each side right there. Once you guys have finished that movement up, you're going to be coming on down to the mat. You'll put a foot down. You'll bring the other leg back behind you. Your hands will come on the inside of your foot here. You're going to scoot that leg back, drop that knee down to the ground, look up and forward, take a nice big deep breath. If you guys want a little bonus calf stretch here, we'll bring those feet back, try to flatten the heels to the ground if we can, and then bring that other foot up next to us here. Same thing, hands are on the inside of the foot, knees lining up next to the shoulder. We're looking up and forward, and we're going to take in a big deep breath. So I just demonstrated one of those on each side. You guys can pause the video, do 5 or 6 on each side, depending on what feels good, and then we'll move on to that next exercise. Once you guys are ready for that next exercise, we're going to work on a thread the needle. So we are on all fours here. We got our cores engaged. We're going to thread an arm through the armpit here, keeping that arm close to the body. We're going to rotate and open up towards the ceiling there. We're going to loosen up the thoracic area of the spine. So if you're looking at your back, it's from about here to here. So you want to focus on having good rotational movements. Rotate through, rotate, and open that chest up, pointing directly the other way, doing my best to look up at the ceiling. Your mobility is going to depend on how far you get, so get as far as you can comfortably. 5, maybe 6 of these on each side so you guys feel nice and loosened up. So go ahead and pause the video, get those done, come on back, we'll do the next thing. Y'all's next exercise would be flipping over on the back. We'll go into a chair stretch. So I take one leg, and I cross it over like I'm sitting down in a chair. I lean back on my back, hug that other knee in. I find with myself, my tummy always likes to fight this. I get real tight in my tummy, so it's important that we relax and we let that muscle stretch out just a little bit. Okay? You guys can switch that side, cross the leg over the other knee, hug that on in, relax that tummy. We're going to get 5 of these ones on each side. So pause the video, 5, 6, however many it takes to make you feel nice and loose. And then we'll move on to that next thing. When you guys are ready, we've kind of gotten all those major muscles stretched out. We're going to be moving into some other things here to start getting those lower body muscles moving. We're going to start with hip bridge. I normally like to do 5 of these reps. It's important that we engage our core, keep our hips level, drive those hips up, squeezing the butt muscles. My spine's still in line here. I'll lower back down, making sure that I have a neutral hip positioning. What I mean by neutral hip positioning is they're not rolled forward. I don't have a giant arch in my back, but I'm nice and neutral in between those. After the hip bridge for maybe 5 or 10 reps, you guys will bring the arms and the legs up, both bent at a 90-degree angle, elbows to knees, and we'll get that core active by working on some dead bugs here. So we'll extend that opposite arm and leg out, keeping that core tight, bringing it on back in. Depending on your core and how warmed up you are, you guys can shorten that range of motion. It's a little easier to keep it short. It's a little more difficult to make it longer. After you guys get maybe 5 or 6 of those in, do a couple of sets of that, pause the video while you do it, come on back, we're going to be moving into some other exercises here next. Next set of exercises is going to help stretch out the chest. So we're going to get some mobility in those chest muscles. It's also going to help us get that core and the shoulders warmed up even more. So we're going to be working on some hand release push-ups, and we're going to be working on some bird dogs. And these hand release push-ups, they're not to challenge you, but they're to help loosen up and stretch out the chest. So we start either on our toes at the top of that hand release push-up or down on our knees. Our core is engaged, spine's in line. We're going to go all the way down, touch the chest to the ground, touch the thighs and the knees to the ground, and then pull those hands away, press it back into the mat, and then push ourselves back up. It's important that we're slow and steady here. We lie down flat, we pull those hands away to let that chest stretch out, and then we press ourselves on back up to the top there. Once we've gotten 5 of those hand release push-ups, we're going to move into some bird dogs. So you're here all fours, core's tight, spine's in line, opposite arm and leg is moving out. Nice and steady there. You guys can complete 5 of those hand release, 5 of those bird dogs, maybe just 2, 3 sets of those, getting those muscle groups nice and warmed up. Pause the video, get a couple of those done, come back in a few seconds here, and we'll talk about the next set of exercises. Your next set of exercises will bring you up onto your feet. Once you guys are up on your feet, we're going to practice our squat here. So I'm leveling out my hips, tucking my chin, engaging my core, and I'm going to drop down into that squat. I'm going to pause there at the very bottom and drive myself back up, squeezing my butt muscles, driving my feet nice and evenly planted into the ground. Maybe 5, 6 reps practicing that squat there. After that, we're going to move into a low scoop, hamstring and calf stretch. You guys will bring a foot out in front of you, heels down on the ground, toe points up towards the sky, and we're going to hinge our butt back, so hinge at that hip, and then scoop down nice and low, like you're throwing the dirt back over your shoulder. You guys can do that maybe 5 or 6 times on each side, depending on how your calf and hamstring are feeling. Go back into that squat, hit another set of those low scoops there, maybe 2, 3 sets of each one of those exercises. Pause the video while you do that. Come on back, we'll talk about another set of exercises. Our next set of exercises is going to be the good morning. This is going to help us practice our hip hinge and remember how to hinge through that hip. We're going to hinge, so I'm bending at my hip line, not at my back. So bend at the butt, not at the back, right? You notice I have a nice tabletop flat back here, and I'm going to drive those hips back forward and squeeze my glutes at the top of the motion. My core is tight, my chin's tucked, my butt goes back, my back is flat, my hips go forward, right? So we're hinging at the hips, that's our axis of motion. 5, 6 reps of that, then we'll move into a toy soldier. Kicking that leg up, reaching out with that opposite hand. What you want to watch out here for is rounding out that back to reach. If you find yourself rounding out that back, reach for the knee and kick that leg as high as you can, mid-shin or toe, whatever your mobility allows. 5 or so of those on each side, 2 to 3 sets. Pause the video while you guys get that done. Come on back, we'll talk about another set of exercises, and then you should be ready to rock and roll. Our next set of exercises here are going to help to ramp up the heart rate. We got some of those major muscle groups working, we got some mobility done, so now let's get that heart rate prepared. We can start by marching the knees for 5 reps. After you've marched those knees for 5 reps, we'll leap side to side for 5 times, and then we'll crank up the pace on those high knees and those lateral hops. I want you to do maybe 3, 4 sets of this to help get the heart rate up. 5 reps of each one of those. Pause the video while you get that done. Come on back for the very last round of what we're going to do. Last set of things here, you guys, we're going to focus on some butt kickers. So we're going to be kicking back towards our butt. But a side view here, you guys are going to make sure that knee is still coming forward a little bit and that you're not tipped forward, kicking at your butt with the knee straight down, right? So this is our pattern. We'll speed that up for 5 on each side. Then we'll go front to back on our hops for 5 times. Get a couple of those in, maybe 2, 3 sets of it. You guys are ready to rock and roll. Pull up the workout that you want to do today. Your heart rate should be up. Your muscles should be ready to party. You're good to go, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.